I've coached over 70 skinny guys. Every single time I see the same thing. It's not genetics, it's not a fast metabolism, it's daily habits. So in this video, I'm breaking down 14 of them, the habits that kept Lucas stuck at 62 kgs versus the ones that helped him grow past 72 kgs. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which habits are holding you back and which ones will finally force the scale to go up. My name is Matteo. I've gained 17 plus kgs of muscle naturally. That is without living in the gym, without relying on unsustainable diets, mass gainers, none of that. And I now specialize in helping skinny guys that were in my exact same position transform. Let's dive right in. Today, I'm using my client Lucas that transformed, that gained 10 kgs in 12 months. But all of these habits and all of the mistakes he was making are ones that most skinny guys are making. Starting with nutrition, the first one is skinny guys skip and delay their first meal. Your first meal is your opportunity to get a head start on the day. If you're waiting until 12 p.m. to start getting calories into your system, you're leaving such a big window where you could already be working to that calorie surplus. On the other hand, Jack Lucas has a structured high calorie breakfast and he starts the day in a calorie surplus. He's not chasing calories at the end of the day. He gets a head start within the first couple of hours. The second point is skinny Lucas waits until hunger appears. There's a saying that goes, the less you eat, the less you want to eat. This was Lucas. He was waiting for his appetite to magically appear, and this was preventing him from eating enough and getting enough calories on a day-to-day basis. On the other hand, when we transitioned to Jack Lucas, we had 3 meals, 1 snack. High calorie dense meals in a proper way, with some structure. Your stomach adapts over time. You might not be hungry right now, but you don't magically wake up with a big appetite. You have to train your stomach to want to eat more food. That is just stretching it a little bit. Have smaller meals throughout your day to increase that food tolerance. Over time, you'll be able to stomach more food, but in the early stages, you have to eat a couple meals regardless of your appetite to kickstart the process. Point number 3 is he said he was eating a lot, but he never tracked his daily weight, nor did he track his daily calorie intake. Now, without tracking, you don't know. When it comes to your daily weight, you might be gaining weight, you might be gaining 200 grams on a weekly basis, but you don't know that because you're weighing yourself once every 2 weeks. When it comes to tracking calories, if you don't know how many calories you're consuming, how do you expect to consistently be in a calorie surplus? This is why eating more, just eat more, is not a proper strategy. So what we did with Jack Lucas, we spent 5 minutes tracking his food, his daily weigh-ins after peeing in the morning, and spending 5 minutes to track his 3 meals, 1 snack with an app called Macros First. I'll pop it up on screen. So we're removing emotion out of the picture. I eat a lot is very subjective. We focus on data and we adjust according to what the scale tells us. Which brings us to number 4. Random meals, that is, sometimes you'll have a protein bar, a salad here and there, snacks here and there. Nothing truly adds up to that calorie goal that you need in order to grow. On the other hand, what we do with Jack Lucas is we repeat calorie dense meals that Lucas enjoys, that he can have consistently over time. And these are high calorie dense foods: quality beef, eggs, high fat dairy, rice, olive oil, cooking with butter. All of these small things add up at the end of the day. Number 5, this is a pretty common one. Guys think that healthy eating and clean eating naturally means putting on size, gaining weight, building muscle. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. You can eat as healthy as you want if you're eating broccoli, plain chicken, ingredients that don't have a lot of calories. It's going to be very hard for you to consistently hit a calorie surplus. Those foods combined with the other mistakes are naturally going to lead you to undereat. So instead of praying and hoping that eating clean foods is going to help us grow, we follow a methodical bulking approach. We focus on structure, a bit of tracking, the right foods, tracking our scale weight, adjusting on a weekly basis our calorie intake. We're not basing ourselves on emotion. We base ourselves on facts. That doesn't mean we're not eating healthy. We're eating healthy, but the right foods, high calorie dense foods on a daily basis, making sure it's sustainable, repeatable, and that Jack Lucas could maintain it long term. Number 6, this is a smaller one, but skinny Lucas was drinking a lot of water and a lot of caffeine in the early stages of the day. Now, what that does is caffeine can be an appetite suppressant, which means you're not going to be hungry. Water, on the other hand, if you're drinking a lot of water, that's naturally going to fill your stomach up with 0 calories. So what we did instead is we used strategic liquid calories. Liquids contain calories, and for a lot of guys, they can be a lot easier to consume on a daily basis, which makes hitting that surplus a lot easier. This can be quality fruit juices, a bit of syrup in your water, a whole foods based shake that you make in the morning and bring with you in a stainless steel bottle. All of these are options, but if you're drinking a lot of water and a lot of coffee, that can suppress your appetite. And make hitting the calorie surplus a lot harder. Finally, when it comes to nutrition, Skinny Lucas was eating different foods every single day. So there was a lot of variables, and beyond that, like, there was no structure or system. What we did with Jack Lucas for him to transform is we set up a couple fixed meals into his diet, a breakfast and also something that he could have for lunch consistently. We designed a fixed high calorie dense breakfast and a fixed meal for lunch. We had a couple variations, but these were specifically designed meals, high calorie dense meals that he enjoyed, that were easy to make, that took him 5 to 10 minutes to prepare the night before, that he could either bring with him to work in a glass Tupperware, or he could make it at home in less than 5 minutes. Now, what this does is that it liberates mental bandwidth when it comes to your food. You're not always thinking about what foods am I going to eat, when's my next meal. You always know that you have 1 to 2 meals that you rely on a day-to-day basis that help you get to that calorie surplus. That was when it comes to nutrition. Now let's talk training. Skinny Lucas and most skinny guys think that more is naturally better. Training 5 to 6 times per week, doing more sets, more exercises, more reps is naturally going to help you build more muscle. That is simply not the case. With 9 years of lifting, I personally trained 3 times per week. And what we did with Lucas is, at first, he really enjoyed training. So we trained 5 times per week, but we then scaled down to 4 and then to 3. Instead of randomly doing more, we were intentional with his training. Big lifts first, 2 to 3 compound lifts at the beginning of the session and 2 isolation lifts at the end. Beyond that, his training routine was super important, something that he could sustain long-term from day one. Number 9, before, Skinny Lucas had no progression in the gym. He was turning up, lifting the same weights month on month, and he didn't know how to progress. He felt like he was taking 1 step forward, 1 step back. Now, the truth is that you will not build muscle if you're not getting stronger over time. If your lifts stay the exact same over 3 months, 6 months, why would your body grow? That is why we got hyper-focused on progressive overload, using our simple progression model, making sure that every single time he hit the gym, he knew exactly what to do when it comes to his reps, his sets, the weight. How do we increase? This is what allowed Jack Lucas to grow. On all of his exercises over the 12 months, he was able to add 20, 25 kgs, and that was the driver of his transformation. Number 10, Skinny Lucas and a lot of skinny guys are obsessed about finding the perfect plan. They think there's a perfect plan, perfect exercise that you must do in order to grow. That's not the case. Like, with a simple program, when you prioritize consistency and something that you can stick to long term, that is so much more powerful. If you can do something for 1 year sustainably, you train 3 times per week, instead of having a plan, a perfect plan that you can only stick to for like 2 weeks, you're gonna get way better results training 3 times per week on a longer term horizon. Remember, this is not a sprint, this is a marathon. So instead of focusing on the most optimized, perfect approach, we focused on basic, proven principles that work and that allowed him to show up even when he was not motivated. Number 11, super important. I see skinny guys every single day when I go to the gym leave 3+ reps in the tank. That means their last rep is just a walk in the park. You have to remember that the last 1 to 2 to 3 reps are the ones that build the most amount of muscle. If you're just going through the motions, you're not going to be building a lot of muscle. That is why Jack Lucas, we train with the right intensity, pushing our sets close to failure to make sure we were triggering growth every single session and not just working out, actually pushing the needle forward. Number 12 is Skinny Lucas was never tracking his numbers in the gym. And this is what a lot of guys tell me as well. They're like, I remember what I did. But when you have 15 exercises over the week and you have decimals on every single exercise, it's going to be very hard to remember. So what we did is we tracked every single one of his numbers. When you track, you can actually measure if you're making progress, but you can also identify what's going wrong if you're struggling to grow. Tracking your numbers in the gym is bare bone, the foundation of getting stronger, of building muscle. You must start tracking your numbers in the gym, because the goal of your training session is every single week we're trying to improve last week's performance again and again and again and again. Just getting 1% stronger every single week. Finally, number 13 is copying random influencer workouts online. A grocery list of exercise that has no progression, that is just a set of exercises. We did not do that. We focused on having a simple, repeatable program with the same basic exercises where we could actually measure over 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, his progression. We were not program hopping. We stuck to one plan, made small adjustments along the way, but kept the same variables to make sure he was progressing over time. And finally, this is a common one, Skinny Lucas was measuring his progress as to whether he was fatigued or sore the day after. Being fatigued or sore after a session is a very bad measure of actual progression. I could train for 3 hours today, I'm gonna be sore, but that doesn't mean I got stronger. That doesn't mean I pushed the needle forward. Again, we're not trying to do more, we're trying to do better and actually progress on a weekly basis. Our goal was not to exhaust Lucas, but to make sure that every single week he was adding 1% to the bar, adding a rep here and there, adding a tiny bit of weight. That's what we did consistently over time. With that being said, there's a free training down below which shows you the exact systems my clients and I use to transform predictably and consistently. Feel free to watch it, and I'm wishing you a great day. Take care, buddy.